Alright, tēnā koutou e te whānau, ko pere huri waisaga tōku ingoa. This is a video all about strategic voting. How to ensure your vote at the November election helps to change the current government. I'm going to be talking about some of the basics of our political system, but also some of the more interesting strategic aspects that we can leverage to help facilitate that change. It's going to be a long video. Buckle up. Get comfortable. In our system, there are 120 seats in Parliament, and to win the election, you need to win a majority of those seats. So come the election, you get two votes. The first one that we're going to look at is called your party vote. Let's say, as an example, there's a party that receives 20% of the overall party votes, okay? That's going to entitle them to 20% of the 120 seats in Parliament. Yeah, easy. It's just easy math at this stage, but it's gonna get trickier. Woo! Aroha mai. It's not very professional. To make it into Parliament via the party vote alone, you need a minimum of 5% of the overall party votes. Normally, it's the party vote that is the most important, but if you're on the Māori roll, arguably the electorate vote, your second vote, is actually more important. This decides who your local representative will be. Candidates usually belong to a party, and who you can vote for depends on which role you're on and which region you live in. I'm in Te Tokiro on the Māori role, and so when it comes time to vote, I'll be able to choose between those who have stood in the Te Tokiro electorate. Let's just say, as an example, that you're a Green voter, and you've given your party vote, the first vote you get, to the Greens, and you're also going to give your second vote, your electorate vote, to a Green representative in your electorate. Let's say in this example the Greens get 4% of the party vote, but through your second vote, the local representative in the electorate vote, the Greens win. So a few things happen here. The Greens don't make the 5% threshold, they're just on 4%, but they've won an electorate. When you win an electorate, you're guaranteed to enter Parliament, and so that 5% threshold no longer applies. So the Greenies get 4% in our example. 4% of 120 seats is roughly around 5 seats in Parliament. The people who fill those 5 seats are made up of what's called a party's list. The list is an internal ranking system that is decided on by the parties themselves. But before a party starts filling those seats with list MPs, any electorate winners who belong to that party will first fill those seats instead of the list. So Huhana fills the first seat, and then starting at the top of the party's list rankings, first on the list, second on the list, third and fourth, etc, etc. Here's where things start to get interesting. What happens when a party wins an electorate or multiple electorates but don't receive many party votes? Let's build a new example here, okay? Let's say the Greens win multiple electorates. Huhana in Te Tokiro, Chloe Swarbrick in Central Auckland, and Tamitha Paul in Central Wellington. But let's say, and this is unlikely, it's just for the sake of the example, let's say the Greens only get 1.5% of the party vote. 1.5% of 120 seats is roughly only 2 seats. So then those 2 seats are filled by the electorate winners who are highest on the list, so that'll be Chloe, Tamitha. What happens to Huhana? That's when the overhang comes in. Extra seats are added to Parliament. Extra seats that are normal seats, the MPs in those seats have the same powers, they're paid the same salaries, everything is the same, it's just completely extra. This is how, when used strategically, your electorate vote can be used to create more seats. So if you win an electorate, or multiple electorates, irrespective of your party vote, those seats are guaranteed. So what exactly happened to the value or the worth of that 1.5% of the party vote? I'll tell you what, wasted vote, gone, just disappears through a little bit of magic MMP math. So let's look at a real example. Te Pāti Māori's election result from the last election. They got 3.08% of the party vote. That entitled them to roughly 4 seats in Parliament, but they won 6 electorates. So they won 6 seats. 2 additional seats needed to be added to Parliament to accommodate their electorate winners, changing the total number of seats in Parliament from 120 to 122. But it gets even more interesting, e te whānau, we're not done. Here's the second part of the overhang strategy. Looking at the last election results for Te Pāti Māori and the Greens, their total seats combined is 21. Now, by simply rearranging the votes that these two parties received, we're able to increase that total of 21. Using the government's own MMP seat calculator, I've entered an exact copy of the last election's results. Greens and Te Pāti Māori, 21 seats. Now, because Te Pāti Māori won 6 electorates, they have 6 guaranteed seats. So, you see where I'm going with this? Take the party votes that Te Pāti Māori received and give them to the Green Party. Make it 0. The total amount of seats for Te Pāti Māori does not change. Yeah, you get in it? You get in it now? We're gonna win. We got this. So giving those party votes to the Greens, without our opposition doing anything and without Labour doing anything, we've increased. And I do not want to promote Labour, but technically speaking, for the sake of utilising this overhang, and let's say you don't get down with the Green Party, giving your party vote to the Labour Party is going to have the same impact. And the reason why that works is because, like the Greens, Labour always, historically speaking, win more party seats via the party vote than they do electorate seats via the electorate vote. Simple! Here's another very important real-world example. The most recent poll to date, the Roy Morgan poll for April 2026. The National-led right-wing coalition is at 60 seats. The Labour-led centre-left coalition is also at 60 seats. Deadlock. Every vote, every decision has the power to make a difference. Now in this poll, Te Pāti Māori has 3% of the party vote. And from this poll's calculations, that puts them at 4 seats. But the poll didn't survey people on the electorate vote, so we have to make some assumptions here. We can only break this deadlock by giving some of Te Pāti Māori's party votes if Te Pāti Māori retain some guaranteed seats through the electorate vote. Who is the most likely to retain or win an electorate seat? Hana. So if Hana retains that seat, we can then give those 4 seats that Te Pāti Māori won through their party vote to the Greens. That's just transferring 4 seats from one party to another party. No net increase there. But because Hana wins her electorate, that triggers the overhang, increasing the total number of seats for the Labour-led centre-left bloc coalition from 60 to 61, thus breaking the deadlock. Believe, whānau. Believe. But asking every Te Pāti Māori party voter to switch their party vote to the Greens is a lofty ask. We can soften that ask, requiring less Te Pāti Māori people to move to the Greens if Te Pāti Māori wins more electorates. If Apira Hama Edwards wins in Te Taitokiro and Debbie Ngare-Wapaka wins in Te Taihoauru, Oreni Kaipara and Tamaki Makaurau, then we only need one more win in the electorates for Te Pāti Māori. And based on who's left, the most likely winner there is going to be Rawiri Waititi in Waiariki. If Rawiri wins that seat, or if Te Pāti Māori wins 5 electorates based on the Roy Morgan poll, that would break the deadlock and give us the win. Rawiri's strongest opponent in Waiariki is, of course, the Greens' newest superstar, Tanya Waikato. Luckily for all of us, Tanya Waikato is placed very conveniently on the Green Party list. She's placed at number 13. And to get your number 13 from the list into Parliament, you need roughly around 11% of the party vote, which is exactly where the Green Party is polling currently. But on the current numbers, she only just makes it in. So my plea to those in the Waiariki, give your Māori electorate vote to Rawiri. Give your party vote to the Greens. This is how we can ensure both of these individuals make it into Parliament and we get the most seats for our buck. And so, based on these numbers, if we're serious about wanting to change the government and you want your vote to count towards doing that, the best, most likely strategic vote is to give your party vote to the Greens and to give your Māori roll electorate vote to Te Pāti Māori.